safe from COVID until we are all safe. Honorable members, ladies and gentlemen, we have that Kenya projected to grow twice as fast as sub-Saharan economy in the period of 2021 to 2022. And all this because of leadership, the power of choice. Allow me to give another example of acceleration and the multiplication of our fundamentals as a strategic intent of my administration. A case in point is that we have doubled our GDP. We have also doubled our road network across the entire republic. Besides the road infrastructure, my administration has made the largest infrastructure in a century with the construction of the railway. In respect to infrastructure, when my administration came to the helm, there were 11,200 kilometers of tarmac road constructed by previous administration in 120. I said I include the colonizers as well. In 8 years, administration what the previous administrations have done by a factor. We have built 10,500 kilometers of road across the republic and doing 50 than previous, and I'll explain in a little while. A railway, the Madaraka Day of the year 2017, we marked a creative moment for Kenya and for Africa. The Madaraka experienced its inaugural journey from Mombasa to Bũrũri. The largest infrastructure in Africa had become a feature of our homeland and nation. Since then, the way we Mombasa has been redefined, with Madaraka Express having served over 6,495,000 passengers, while our cargo gets to the store of our enterprises time record in terms of cargo transported from the 1st of January 2018 to yesterday, the 29th of November 2021. Turning power generation, acceleration model was the production and distribution of the oath of office in 2013. Kenya's total was 1,300 megawatts. 8 years later, Kenya's total grid has doubled and now stands at 1,600 megawatts. Translates to approximately 325 megawatts installed every year under administration. It means that for every year, we have installed 325 megawatts since 2013. Previous administrations installed a combined average of only 12 megawatts per year. Put differently, in 8 years, we have generated 40 times a year compared to the past. It is worth noting, honorable members, that 73% of this power is green. In fact, Kenya is leading the African continent in the generation of green energy. But the only thing in Kenya, it's not the only thing which Kenya is leading the continent. I am proud to report that we have connected more power than in any other part of the country in just 6 years. In fact, Kenya is the leading country in Africa with respect to household connection electricity. In the 8 years, we have connected 7 million more homes. We have collected 1.7 million more households than Egypt. Similarly, we have connected as many households as South Africa and Nigeria combined during the 8 years of my administration. In real terms, only 2.3 million households had been connected to power when I took over in 2013. In 8 years, we have tripled this number by connecting an extra 6.3 million households. Put differently, and guided by our acceleration model, we have connected approximately 787,000 households every year on average, and with 2,000 connections a day since 2013. By any measure, this acceleration is noteworthy. Besides access to electricity, my administration has embarked on implementing the recommendations of the Presidential Task Force that established a pathway for the reduction of the cost of electricity by 30% by the end of this year. Mr. Speaker, we are tearing down all barriers that deny Kenyans an opportunity to lead a dignified life. Now I turn to devolution and how my administration has used the acceleration framework to multiply the economic fundamentals of the counties. As the first president to implement the 2010 Constitution, the task of rolling out devolution fell squarely on me. And although the letter of the Constitution provided for a phased approach to the devolution of functions to counties, the spirit of the Constitution suggested an urgent Big Bang approach in creating the devolved structures. This meant giving county governments political, administrative, and financial autonomy all at once. And we were to do this without the luxury of a strategy, dry run, to determine whether the Big Bang approach would work. Fortunately, Article 187 of the Constitution gave us 3 years to execute this constitutional instruction. While 3 years was a fair period to achieve the Big Bang effect of transferring functions to fragile counties, my administration chose an even bolder path. Driven by our acceleration doctrine, we chose to transfer functions to the county structures in 1 year instead of the constitutional threshold of 3 years. And because we were committed to the success of the county's structures, we followed our accelerated devolution of function with 2 critical drivers. One, we undertook a massive transfer of highly skilled civil servants from the national government to the county governments. And this battery of highly trained personnel was meant to give county governments a head start. And they did so in terms of setting up the county public services, including their operating structures and systems. 2, within the first year of my tenure, my administration increased the equitable share allocation to county governments from the constitutionally mandated 15% to 32%. This was a doubling of the allocation in support of the execution of the devolution dream. And we did this because we understood and appreciated that devolution of functions without devolving of funding was an exercise in futility. Today, the national government has disbursed approximately 2.4 trillion to county governments over the last 8 years. The aggregate amount that will have been dispersed to the counties for the next financial year will ensure that this figure surpasses the 3 trillion mark. In other words, this percolation of resources changed the economic fundamentals at the county level. It has fast-tracked the embeddedness of devolved functions in 8 years, and evidence abounds on this, but allow me to give a few examples. Accelerated devolution has, for instance, delivered shoes with a magical label made in Kitui County, Kenya, and given Makueni County its first mango processing plant. Makueni County received 110 million from the Devolution Advice and Support Program. This money supported the processing plant and benefited 12,000 mango farmers by creating value addition. That plant is now buying 1 mango at 15 shillings from farmers who previously sold their produce in the open marketplace at 5 shillings at the very best, other than let their mangoes rot away. Their incomes have grown tenfold and provided ground for their farming undertakings to take off. Makueni is also on record as being one of the counties with the capacity to manufacture its own oxygen, especially in the context of COVID-19. And their universal health care insurance scheme, known as Makueni Care, is also a good example. Another example of county innovation is in Kajiado. In the wake of COVID-19 pandemic, the county looked for a way of distributing food to members of its populace through an integrated system dubbed M-Riziki, which virtually linked financiers and beneficiaries. 30,000 households of their population in Kajiado were able to receive food using the system in 2020. M-Riziki saved the county the logistical nightmare of transportation, and the digital platform also ensured that shopkeepers who partnered with the county to provide goods remained in business during the COVID duress. This innovative approach in distributing relief food closed off avenues of corruption and created highly efficient ways of delivering services to the population. Honorable members, there are many more testimonials on how accelerating the formation of county structures and supporting them with skilled personnel, resources, and legislation has embedded devolution in the last 8 years. Once sleepy towns across the country have now roared back into life, driving not just grand infrastructure projects, but also tangible increases in household incomes of ordinary Kenyans. Mr. Speakers, as devolution takes root, and as an affirmation of the equitable development we continue to enjoy, and in keeping with the resolution of the Senate, I will tomorrow, the 1st of December 2021, have the high privilege of conferring on Nakuru Municipality city status. Nakuru City will join Kisumu, Mombasa, and Nairobi as cities, and with their reputation as East Africa's cleanest town, all of Kenya looks forward to Nakuru City growing by leaps and bounds. So, honorable members, I am happy to report to this august House that my administration has laid a firm and sound foundation for the devolved system of government, a foundation that has the potential to multiply the economic fundamentals of our county economies immeasurably. Ladies and gentlemen, you may ask why we choose to accelerate certain goals in our development agenda. Why do we choose to accelerate the issuance of title deeds, double our road network, build brand new railway lines, double our power production, double our GDP? Why has my administration taken such tremendous strides in creating accelerated development? Honorable members, it took England 200 years to industrialize. It took the United States of America 160 years, and Japan 110 years. However, we look not to these nations, but to China, which has compressed their progressive economic change experience by these countries into a single generation. Instead of taking 200 years, instead of taking the 200 years it took England to industrialize, China took only 25 years. Similarly, the 4 Asian tigers of Hong Kong, Taiwan, Singapore, and the Republic of South Korea took 25 years to industrialize instead of the hundreds of years it took others. And that is why their accelerated growth was called the Asian miracle. The secret to these miracles was acceleration. The Asian tigers, for instance, accelerated the achievement of its critical development fundamentals